Considering that the news of Smith departing seemed to come as a surprise, that they've got this sorted in a couple of weeks seems.
Yes, yeah, a more expedited interview process than the Rhinos seem to carry out, and there's no suggestion as well that KR didn't get their man and had to settle for second best. Tom doesn't remember Willie Peters being around over here. Maybe he's slightly too young. I remember him at Wigan. I remember quite liking him. He had a really good short kicking game. He was Wigan's halfback before Adrian Lamb, so sort of 2000, 99, 2000 I think he was there. Did go back to the NRL after his spell at Widnes, I think with St George was he at, but didn't his career never kicked off in the NRL, and then he retired. So I don't know if we ever saw the full best of him, but when he was at Gateshead as like a kid, he was an up and coming talent. I enjoyed watching him as a player, so hopefully he will bring some of that sort of stuff into his coaching. He was quite effervescent. I always thought he was quite excitable, and enjoyed the attacking side of the game, so should be a good fit for the Hull KR squad, I think. But I don't know much about his coaching style and desires and all of that sort of stuff, but we shall see, I guess. But like you say, quick turnaround on getting an appointment sorted.
Absolutely, and the Cowboys, it's come from the Cowboys now, hasn't he? They're like a surprise package in the NRL as well. So
no, is it the Knights? I think. I don't know. He's somewhere.
Oh right, yeah, it's the Knights. Maybe not.
No, because they're bottom.
Yeah. Scratch that.
Quite, but well done to Huddersfield. Definitely deserved the win. I think it sets up a final between two top six sides. We get a taster of what they might throw at each other as well this week.
So what do you think? What do you think about the final?
I went into this season not expecting Wigan to reach a final, let alone win a final. So if we win, I'd be delighted. I'm not going in it expecting anything, to be honest. We will be going into it favourites, I suppose, but I don't think that'll influence this playing group, because this playing group had such a miserable year last year. With only Cade Ellis and Patrick Mago and Cade Cuss coming in, so a lot of those players have the scars from being one of the most terrible Wigan tides to ever watch, sort of thing. And Matt Pete's turned around the attitude and the mentality within the group. I think that he won't let that impact them. I don't think a mentality issue will be an issue. But obviously things might change when the game kicks off. I do think Huddersfield know what they're doing now under Ian Watson.
Watson's got the pedigree of that semi-final a few years ago as well with Salford, hasn't he? That which was it? When they beat you to get into the grand final.
They did, but that was at the end of a long season when Wigan looked absolutely off the feet with the young forwards that they were consistently having to play week in, week out. I think this might be different, and both sides are rotating the squad and resting some players with bumps and bruises, etc. This week, probably they will next week as well. So we'll see, but I think it should be a fairly even contest. Huddersfield showing that ability to score those long range tries in that semi-final kind of is a counterpoint to what we know Wigan can do this year, which is score those long range tries. Wigan can score at any time from anywhere, it feels like, this year, doesn't it? So I think that hopefully will get us over it in the final, combined with champion players like Farrell and Bateman and in there. That's my hope. I agree. I think the Saints fans around me actually were saying in the first game they were saying this is the game to decide who wins the Challenge Cup. That's what the Saints fans feelings were about that game versus the other game. I think the bookies felt the same, didn't they? Because they had all of the four teams. They had Wigan and Saints, and then Wigan as the two favourites to win the Challenge Cup, even though only one of them could have got to the final. So I think they felt the same, but I don't think the feeling amongst the Wigan fans was the same. I think Wigan fans this year are more living in the moment and actually enjoying being entertained again, rather than worrying too much about thinking too far ahead. And I'd love it if Huddersfield turned up with the mentality that they turned up with on Saturday and made a real if it's a real arm wrestle and a really
tough game, that'd be great, because they do have the players to pull off a shock.
Of course they do, and they've got that champion pedigree in, Challenge Cup winner millions of times, but never the grand final winner in Chris Hill, and the Theo Farge as well, of course. So yeah. Right, there's some other Super League news stories to cover that we might as well cover here, because there's no other place that they fit in the rundown. England captain Sam Tompkins has signed a 1-year contract extension with Catalan Dragons. A 33-year-old fullback signed from Wigan in 2019 and helped the Dragons to the grand final last year when he was man of steel. So that's them keeping their leader around for another year.
Yeah, good business. He's still a great player when he plays. He's back this weekend, isn't he, actually?
Yeah, he should be. And I really hope he finds his form, because...
I don't. Next week.
If he finds the form he played most of last year with, that's good for England in the World Cup.
Yes, absolutely. And him being around Morgue as well is good for France. As a mentor, yeah.
Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah. Salford Red Devils have announced the signing of Tyler Dupree from Widnes until the end of the 2023. Until the end of 2023. Dupree, 22, started at Salford's scholarship 6 years ago before joining Leeds Academy. The deal has also seen Red Devils forward Josh Johnson go the other way, joining Widnes on a deal until the end of 2023.
Wakefield Trinity have signed Warrington Wolves forward Rob Butler until the end of 2023. The 23-year-old prop, who has played for England Knights, has only played once in Super League this season. Underplayed?
Yeah, he's never been given a chance, really. It was last season he was signed for, and I think he played a couple of times last year. But
yeah, I think 5 or 6.
Yeah. Not many. He was shipped off to Leigh. He's for whatever reason he's never been given his chance, and he needed the game time.
It feels like Wakefield have been looking for a forward all year, and I think Rob Butler, if he gets himself in the right sort of fitness shape, I don't know how committed he is sometimes to that, because he looks like he fluctuates a bit between looking right on and looking a bit flabby, but if he gets right on, then I think he's a top signing, top prospect.
And nobody needs forwards more than us.
Well, obviously not. Wakefield did.
And then Toulouse have signed Italy international Daniel Alvaro from NRL side St George Illawarra Dragons on a deal until the end of 2024. The 28-year-old has made 114 appearances in the NRL for Parramatta Eels and St George Illawarra Dragons. So they're like adding NRL experience to their squad.
They needed a forward, didn't they? They've got a forward with some pedigree, so that's good. Whether him and Corey Norman will get up to their old partying tricks is a question mark, I think. Callum Watkins and Andy Ackers have signed new deals at Salford, which will expire at the end of 2023, so basically 1-year extensions for them both. Watkins, who's 31, returned to Super League during the 2020 season and has scored 4 tries in 20 games for his hometown club, and hooker Ackers has been who's 28, has been an ever-present in 2022, scored 5 tries in 38 games in total. Ackers would have been a player I thought Wigan might have gone after as a hometown discount bench kind of player, but he's worthy of being playing week in, week out. He's in my dream team, actually, Ackers.
Yeah.
Sleeper pick.
If you need a 9 Parcells in the market, isn't he, at the minute? So
he is, yeah. Let's pick a player of the week. I think I know who yours is from the way you've wanked on about his kicking game. Did we do a player of the match? We haven't done a player of the match for the others, have we? No, this is just player of the week overall.
Oh, right, player of the week. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so, Theo Farge. I could have picked... There was a number of players that impressed me in all 3 games, but I just think that it was so controlled a performance. I just think and he made a big difference.
I'll go with Liam Marshall.
Yeah,
literally game winner, but 2 spectacular tries, different types of spectacular, to start and end a game, and. Playing on a big stage as well. I've questioned whether he should be in the England squad, because I don't think he's quite at that level, but if he keeps performing like he has done in that game at that level against that sort of side, then he's deserving of that place.
Yeah, I think it's his size, isn't it, that makes you think, when the big Aussie wingers, when he going up against those guys, but undoubtedly he's having a great season.
In terms of the predictions, me and Alan both went 3 out of 3. So some people questioned us for picking Wigan, especially would have been questioning it when it looked like Lomax was going to be fit, because he said he was only going to get picked if he was fit, but clearly he was half fit at best, wasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone for the fan views on those games. Really helped us get through all of the points that needed to be covered on all of that action, so we really appreciate that from everyone. Make sure you get your fan views in on next week's games in the same numbers, and that'll be hugely appreciated on the show. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to move on to talking about Warrington's season. This is what Leigh's here for, a good kicking. Right, we're going to be talking about Warrington for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, because we've got you on, the first Warrington fan we've had on this year, so it'd be remiss of us not to talk about what has been a maybe disappointing start to season. I pictured to finish top of the league, so I thought it'd have an instant impact with the players that you got in your squad. I asked you what should we do as a poll for this, and you suggested we should ask the listeners why are Wyre struggling this year, and this should give us a way to, a grounding for this conversation.
Yeah.
So we gave 4 options. First option was the board's focus on gimmicks, because the character limit didn't let me say Carl Fitzpatrick. The player attitude or mentality, or the coaching change. So 2.8% blame the board of the SLP listeners. I think more Warrington fans do than the SLP listenership, but 2.8% blame the board. 11% pin it on the coaching change. That's probably just a bit of Cass fans. 41% said all of the above. Well, nearly 42% actually. But the one that came out on top was 44% went with the player attitude and mentality. So you've got a really good playing squad there. You've got 2 international halfbacks. You've got a very experienced fullback. You've got an outstanding, usually, hooker. Throw into that people like Mike Cooper, Ben Curry, Jack Hughes,
Toby
Josh
King,
Charnley. So much talent and names in that squad. So why do you think Wyre are struggling only in 7th place this year? Is it 7th or 8th? 7th.
Yeah, I think. I don't disagree that the player attitude and mentality. I think I probably went for all of the above, and the reason for that, like you said, I think Warrington fans do get on Carl Fitzpatrick's back quite a lot, more than everybody else. He's like a golden boy for rugby league, for the sport generally, because he looks at things differently, and I know he goes to get ideas from UFC and NFL and things like that, and he tries things, but like NFTs and all this kind of thing. But
Wizzy Rascal,
Wizzy Rascal, which and he was high fiving himself for all the retweets he got from that. And that's great, and that brought in Halliwell Jones as a sponsor for longer, and the financial side of it is part of his job, and that's great. But it also was part of his job to go and get a coach from Australia when
Steve Price.
But other clubs like Mike Rush went out there and came back with Justin Albrook, and we came back with Steve Price, who sort of spent a year. He made us more resilient, and we won the Challenge Cup, and we got into a final. But he couldn't. We were not a good attacking team, and under him, and we mentally we were weak when it came to finals and when it came to the playoffs, and we couldn't wait for him to go. And actually, I think Daryl Powell's. I'm relatively pleased with the appointment. I wanted a Sean Wayne and Wayne Bennett kind of disciplinarian, partially because I think of the mentality of the team, and somebody that could be a real cultural architect that would help that team reach their potential. But we got Daryl Powell, and he's an attacking coach, and could offer something really exciting, and I think he still might. We've got him, and we should back him, and we need to give him the time to build a team that he feels can compete. But I think no doubt that the change of coach has had an impact, as it does sometimes. It's an instantaneous thing, like you were not hoping, but thought might happen, like Justin Holbrook achieved at Saints, and like Matty Peets achieved at Wigan. But we haven't had that. But yeah, the attitude and the mentality is. I often say to like Warrington fans that I sit with in the ground that the team to me remind me of that Liverpool football team of the 1990s. You know, the Spice Boys. Yeah. Of they were.